Good, happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. It's Tuesday, May 11, 2021. Let's begin this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network, right now. First up, Israel airstrike kills 20 in Gaza as volcano escalates. Let's take a listen to that video from NBC News.
Israeli airstrikes continued into the early hours of this morning. 130 targets across the Palestinian Gaza Strip, Israel's military said, releasing cockpit video of the operation. Palestinian officials say 24 people, including 9 children, died. Israel says 15 were members of the militant group Hamas. A mother and her son were killed, this man says. Israel's prime minister declaring a red line was crossed with hundreds of rockets fired from Gaza, 6 targeting Jerusalem, and overnight 2 apartment buildings hit in Ashkelon. 3 were injured with different levels of severity, says this Israeli police officer. The attacks followed days of unrest in Jerusalem and the West Bank. The worst violence for years there. Confrontations between Israeli police and Palestinian protesters, with 700 injured, the Palestinian Red Crescent says. The mounting anger over threatened evictions of Palestinian families. International calls for calm ignored.
We're deeply concerned about the rocket attacks that we are seeing now that need to stop and need to stop immediately.
Palestinians demanding President Biden intervene.
Let him look at our system and see how Palestinians live under this brutal occupation.
This morning, Israel once again reverberating to the sound of retaliation and reprisals. And this morning, Savannah, we're just learning that the Israeli Defense Minister has authorized the calling up of 5,000 reservists, a signal of Israel's determination, a signal to Washington that the situation could still escalate further. Savannah.
Keir Simmons on this story for us. Keir, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Gas shortages reported along East Coast after pipeline cyber attack. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News. Sorry, from NBC News. Sorry about that.
Day 4 and a critical 5,500-mile oil pipeline remains shut down this morning. Gas shortages now being reported in at least 6 states and expected to grow, stretching down the highways as customers wait at the pumps. The governor of North Carolina has declared a state of emergency. The station there running out of fuel.
Motorists that absolutely have to travel should be about the only ones on the roads. The severity of the situation is significant.
The fuel supply shortage also impacting some air travel, including 2 daily flights from American Airlines. President Biden now promising swift action.
The Department of Energy is working directly with Colonial to get the pipelines back online and operating at full capacity as quickly and safely as possible.
The ransomware attack is also exposing new vulnerabilities, from oil and gas to power grids to dams to the nation's water supply, often owned by private companies.
They serve as the first line of defense, and we depend on the effectiveness of their defenses.
The FBI confirming that the cyber criminals responsible for the pipeline attack are known as Dark Side, a sophisticated Russian-based criminal gang that targets the data of English-speaking entities for ransom payments.
Whether this is approved or authorized by the Kremlin is increasingly irrelevant because Russian operations in criminal groups has been going on for years. So there's some degree of tacit approval because it's happening under their nose.
Colonial, critical to America's fuel market, has not said whether it will pay the attackers' ransom demands. But experts warn because cyber criminals often make money off these types of attacks, companies, small and large, which power the nation's infrastructure, are at risk.
This is one of many warning shots. We've been seeing this for quite some time. It's going to continue.
So, Tom, it sounds like gas prices will be going up. Do you know how high?
Yeah, so the expectation is we're likely to see 2 to 3, 4 cents a gallon increase over the coming days. If it lasts longer than that, we're going to go well over $3 a gallon on the national average. And by the way, that would be the highest since 2014. There are ways to make your fuel go longer. For example, if you're out running errands, do a bunch of errands on one trip rather than multiple trips. You may also consider making your car less heavy. In other words, take out the bulky items, the heavy items. That can help you extend your mileage on the car.
Just thinking about unloading all the stuff in my car. All right, Tom, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching our...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Few in GOP supporting Liz Cheney ahead of vote. Let's take a listen to that video from NBC News.
It is a crucial week here in Washington. You could say it's a battle over the future of the Republican Party that's about to take place in just 24 hours. As you said, Craig, House Republicans are set to remove Congresswoman Liz Cheney from their leadership ranks after she denounced former President Trump's lies about the 2020 election. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, in an extremely unusual letter to colleagues, saying it's clear that we need to make a change, arguing Republicans cannot afford to be distracted. But even many Republicans argue this entire battle has become a distraction, with some saying the party should be focused on battling the sweeping Biden agenda, which they say is the most liberal in a generation. Now, only a few GOP colleagues are defending Cheney, including Senator Mitt Romney, who warned this could cost Republicans critical votes when they're trying to win back the House in 2022. Now, we talked to voters in Cheney's Wyoming district. Many told us they want her out. They felt betrayed by Cheney's vote to impeach former President Trump. So it is shaping up to be an intense week here in Washington, Craig.
Our Chief White House correspondent, Kristen Welker, for us. Kristen, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. FDA approves Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children 12 and 15. Let's take a listen to that video from NBC News.
Pfizer's emergency use authorization from the FDA nearly clears the way for 17 million children to get vaccinated. Kids 12 to 15 years old, mostly middle and high school students, will soon qualify. By the end of the week, many could get vaccinated at their pediatrician's office, local clinics, and even their own schools.
Get in line now, figure out with your pediatrician how to get this dose. This is going to get us back to a much more normal state.
The FDA says the same dose and the same two-shot regimen now being used in adults and teens is safe and effective for children as young as 12, a critical step to slowing the 42,000 daily new COVID cases the U.S. is still averaging.
We have been seeing in the past weeks that 25% of all new cases are actually related to pediatric patients. And that's a record.
Pfizer's trial showed the vaccine was 100% effective in stopping symptomatic infections in children. Side effects were similar to those in young adults.
The public should rest assured that safety monitoring will continue.
But FDA authorization won't eliminate vaccine hesitancy. While a new study shows roughly 30% of parents with kids in this age group will get their children vaccinated right away, 26% said they'll wait a while to see how it's working. Still, as the U.S. inches closer to the president's 4th of July goal of 70% of adults with at least one dose, 6 states are hitting that benchmark nearly 2 months early.
I am also vaccinated. That does help a lot. And I do feel like things are starting to get back to normal.
This morning, the nation's future looking more like its past. And now the promise, children 12 to 15 years old will have the same protection as their parents.
Feels good.
The CDC's advisory committee will look at the data next. If they too are given the green light as expected, again, experts believe vaccinations for children could begin as early as Thursday. Vaccines for children 2 to 11 years old are still also in trials. Approval still likely months away.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into weather. And here's a look at the weather across the United States for all of you for this Tuesday evening. As you can see, we have some rain over here, and a few rain showers over here, and a few rain over here as well, and a couple of rain showers off over there. And the rest of the United States is dry, and that is a look at the weather across the United States for this Tuesday evening. And that does it for this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening. Good night and goodbye.